Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in tonight. What I'm going to be doing tonight is a sublimation lunch bag design. I make these all the time and I sell quite a few of them. I have them on my Etsy shop, I have them on my website, allandesignfactory.com, and I sell quite a few locally to the local ladies for dart bags, bingo bags, lunch bags, shaving bags, makeup bags, you name it. I sell a whole big pile of these. The bags that I use have a printable area of a little tiny bit less than 11 by 13 inches. I've looked on Amazon and the ones that I use are not there, but they do have some there, and the dimensions on those, the printable area is about 11.8. So I would suggest that you make your design around 11, the max that you can get on an A3 sheet of paper, to roughly 12. So let's get started here. I have preset done up in my Photoshop. You can also create these in Canva if you like. I like Photoshop myself because it's got so much extra features and options that you can use. So I have a preset done up in my Photoshop. It's 11 by 13 and that's what I use. I print all my designs on A3 size paper, so that's a little better than 11 wide, and it's 17 point something high. I'm not exactly sure of the exact measurement. So let's click in here and we'll get our template open. This is going to be frozen now, maybe? Nope. Okay, so that's my custom bag preset. Okay, so there's my blank canvas for my bag. So today I usually use VECTEEZY a lot of times. Sometimes I use Creative Fabrica. Today I'm using Creative Fabrica because I've seen a few different patterns in there that I'd like to get. This is the Amazon page where you can order the bags. They're very similar to the ones I have, except the ones I have are not quite as wide, I don't think, and they have a black band around here so that your printable area is separate from your edges. Okay, so let's go into Creative Fabrica now. I'm going to pick out a few elements. Let's see. I'm going to pick out a few elements that I'm going to use to put on my bags. So I was thinking an animal print. Let's see. Yeah, an animal print. I've already did this download. You can see here that it's downloaded, and I'll open that in just a bit. I'd also like to get some kind of Gothic floral pattern to go with that. So I'm going to type that in. Gothic floral. So Creative Fabric is a subscription-based site. They have a new deal on now, and it's yearly all access, $4.99 a month. It's billed in one shot for the whole year, $59. And when it renews, it'll renew at $59 a year. It says forever, so I imagine that means that every year it'll just be $59 for the whole year. And it's an amazing deal because there's so much stuff on here that you can download. Once you're paid up, you go in and you download whatever you want, as much as you want, anytime you want. Millions of graphics, fonts, classes. It comes with the commercial license and the POD use as well. So that's pretty good. You don't have to worry about it. So Gothic floral. Let's hit enter and see what comes up here. So with that animal print in mind, now I got to find something that'll go with that animal print. So you can see the amazing array of different images that they got in here. I'm looking for something more along the colors of the animal prints. I'll know it when I see it, I guess. This is kind of cool. Hmm. I think I'm going to go with something like, I'm going to click in here and see what these are all about. They look pretty mysterious. It's called Beautiful Decay. Oh wow, yeah, that's just what I'm looking for, exactly. Okay, so I'm going to download that. Okay, so while that's downloading now, I'm going to open up my animal print and pick out the one that I want. So it's a zip file, so you just double click on it and it will open up. Safari Animal Print Digital Paper Pack. Let's go in here. It's not going to show you the thumbnails until after you unzip it. That's what I don't like about this. So I'm just going to extract it so I can actually see what's in there. Okay. So let's go into our downloads. Under apps, go into File Explorer. Now go into my download folder and there should be a download, should be a folder in there with that extracted files in it. Yep, right over here, Safari Animal Print. So now I can see the thumbnails. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the other file here now. And then I can put them side by side and compare and pick out two matching patterns that I can use on a lunch bag. Okay, extract. Okay, those are extracted as well now. So if I go up here in downloads and go in here, I'm going to make it large thumbnails, view, extra large icons. Okay, so I'm going to just move this in. Let's see. I'm trying to get rid of this part. I don't know how to do that. Won't let me drag it over. Oh well, I'll just have to make do with that. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to get another instance of this Windows Explorer so I can put them side by side and compare them. So go back in here in Apps, File Explorer. It'll open up another window. Now I'm going to open up the animal print ones and I can put them side by side. Okay, I'm going to make those big as well. View, extra large icons. Whoops. Maybe I can, yeah, there we go. I can get rid of that. I don't know how to. Oh well. Okay, so I got both folders open concurrently now, so I'm going to look for some of these gothic floral backgrounds that match some of these animal prints. I kind of like this one here. It got a little bit of a wrinkle in it, which I'm fine with that. So I just want to find one in here now with similar colors in it. That one's nice. Number 10. But I also like, this keeps doing this to me. I also like this one. So I'm going to double click on that, and that will open that up in Photoshop. And I'm also going to double click in this leopard print, and that'll open that up as well. So it's a pretty striking image, I must say. It's really beautiful colors in it. Okay, so I got my two images open here. I'm going to pull this down. I'm going to undock that from my Photoshop. And I'm also going to undock this one. So to undock it, you just click on the title up in the top bar there and just drag it off. Okay. So now this one has the image set to a background layer. I'm going to click on this lock here to take that background layer off. And I'm going to do the same with the animal print. So now they're just regular layers. So I can just drag this layer, drag it over onto my blank template, and drop it there. Okay, that one's over. Now I'll go back to my floral, and I can do the same here. So they're both on there now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close out these two images. And close this out. Now I only have one image open, so that'll free up my resources and it will make it less complicated. So now I got both of these in the layer. I want this to be my main focus on my bag. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit Control T, and that will give me the option to transform it. So I'm going to drag it down a little bit smaller. I'm going to put that about right here. Now the animal print, I'm going to make it the whole size of the paper. So I'm going to hit Control T. I want it to cover all that area. But I don't want the pattern to be too big. I never thought to look and see if this was a seamless pattern. Let's see. I think it might be. Doesn't matter. That's big enough. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, hit enter. Now I want to darken this up just a little bit. So with this layer selected, I'm going to go into my adjustment layers here, and I'm going to add a brightness contrast adjustment layer. So you get your little palette come up here for your brightness contrast adjustment layer. Right here is a little button that you can click, and that tells the program whether you want to apply this adjustment layer to every layer underneath or just the one directly under it. So I'm going to hit the one just directly under it. So I'm going to take the brightness down on it a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Now that makes it a little bit redder too, but I'm going to take the contrast down. Okay. Now I got that down where I want it. I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to say merge down, because that way it's done. I won't have to deal with it again. So next thing I'm going to do is add a hue and saturation layer. And again, I'm going to click this little button there just to let it know that you don't want it applied to anything underneath, just this layer. So I'm going to play with the hue and saturation. So what it does, it'll change the color. So I'm going to try to find like a teal color like it's in those flowers. I'm going to have a lot of fun trying to find that. Hmm. That is close. I'm going to turn saturation up and I'm going to turn the lightness back a little bit, and that'll make it darker. So I'm going to try this again. Nope. It's not close to what I want. I'm going to click the colorize button and see what happens there. So with the colorize, let's turn the saturation up a little bit and the lightness down a little bit. And now I can play with the color again, and hopefully I'll get what I'm looking for. There. I think that's pretty close. That looks pretty close to me. Okay, I'm going to apply that. I'm going to just right click on it and say merge down. It's not going to let me. Huh. Not sure why. Oh, here we go. Merge down. Okay. So now if I turn this layer off to visibility, you can see that it's applied that effect to the whole thing. So what I want to do now is more or less blend this image into the background. So in order to do that, I'm going to apply a layer mask to this layer. So a mask is, it looks almost like a little camera to me. It's a rectangle with a little circle in it. So you can just click on that, and now it applies a mask. So just right click on this and say select pixels. In your mask, now just hit Shift Control I, and that'll invert your mask. And you want to put black in there. So you flood fill that with black. Now you can let your selection go. Just hit Control D and that'll take the selection off. Now we're going to paint the edges of this little flower ever so slightly until we get a fade going on here. So I'm going to get my brush tool and I'm going to go up into my brush settings here, and I'm going to get a soft round brush. It's 480 pixels. The hardness is 0, which is what we want. Up here are some more settings. So our opacity, we're going to turn it down because we want a really soft edge. We don't want to detect any edges whatsoever where our brush strokes were. So we'll just drag that down a little bit. Opacity. Okay, we'll try about 65. And our flow as well. So we might have to go over it 10 times, whereas before we'd only have to go over it once, but you'll get a much better, softer edge. Okay, so around 65 again. So now I'm just going to start painting the edges of this black, and it's going to make it look as though it's disappearing. So we'll start here in this corner. So you can see every time I click, it gets a little bit lighter. So I'm just getting rid of this hard edge for now. So I got the hard edge pretty well gone. Now what I want to do is make some of this like, what's the word? Translucent around the edge. This part I want to keep it totally opaque, but I want some of this to be translucent. So instead of painting it in with a black, I'm going to go get a shade of gray. I don't know why my computer's so slow. Okay, so I'm going to go about midway on the gray, halfway between the black and the white. Okay. So make sure you're still clicked into your mask and not directly on your image. So we're going to soften this edge up even more. You got to be careful because if you go into where your edge is, it's going to bring it back. So let's just go back and get our black. I just did that by accident there. Okay. Okay, now that I got most of the hard edges gone here. Okay. Maybe we'll try it on this side too. Okay. So in my mask here, you can see that there's still a little bit of white showing up here. I'm just going to go over that again with the black, try to get rid of that. Okay. Alright, so now that it's, the mask has been on there, we're going to soften it up again even more. So we're going to right click on this, and I'm going to say add mask to selection. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to feather this. I'm going to go up into select, I'm going to say modify, and I'm going to say feather. And I'm going to try, first of all, I'm going to try to feather it by about 50 pixels. Because this is a fairly large document. This is 11 by 13 at 300 dpi. So 50 pixels is only like 1/6 of an inch. I'm going to try and feather it by about 1/4 of an inch, which would be 75. So I'm going to put 75 in here. Whoops, 75, and that'll feather the radius of this. But before I do that, I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to invert this selection. So I'm going to say Control Shift I. Now I'm going to feather it by 1/4 of an inch. I think that will work. Modify, feather, 75. Okay. Okay, so the selection is feathered. Now I'm going to go Shift Control I again to invert it again. Then I'm going to just to see what I got here, I'm going to hit my flood fill, set to black. I'm going to paint it in here. Drop my flood fill. Okay, so you can see that it's fill that all in. So I'm going to just hit Control Z again, and I'm going to change that to white. Now I'm going to flood fill it with white. Now I'm going to Shift Control I again, and I'm going to flood fill this part with black. I'm going to take it what's in there. My delete key. And I'm going to flood it with black. So it made this go down a little bit. It gave it a really nice soft edge. So I'm going to hit Control D, and you can see that it's a really soft edge on that. So I'm going to apply this layer mask. I'm going to right click, I'm going to say Apply Layer Mask. And now that shape is no longer your rectangular picture. The mask has been applied, and it looks really good. I'm just going to try something here with the blend mode. I'm going to see what happens when I choose overlay. No, I don't like that. Let's try luminosity. Nope. Oh wow, yeah, luminosity is cool. Color, nope. Saturation, nope. Hue, nope. Divide, certainly not. Subtract, no. Exclusion, exclusion is It's not bad, but I don't like it really. Difference? No. Hard mix? Definitely not. Pin light? Definitely not. Linear light? Most certainly not. Vivid? No. Hard? No. Soft? No. Overlay? No. Lighter color? Kinda. Linear dodge? No. Color dodge? No. Screen? No. Lighten? No. Darker color? Burn? Color burn? Multiply? Darken. Dissolve? Dissolve puts a little bit of a pixelated edge, like a bit of noise around the edge of it. I don't mind that. That looks okay to me, but really not what I was going for. I like the luminosity. I really like that because it blends it right into your background color. So we're going to go with that luminosity. Okay. So now I'm going to merge this down. Actually, I'm gonna move this over. I'm gonna move it over and make it a little tiny bit bigger. So to do that, I just go click in here. I go select pixels. I hit Control T. And I wait. Okay. So now I can just drag it. I'm gonna just grab by the corner here and drag it up a little bit. And I'm going to drag it over because we want to make room for the name. We want to put a name on this bag. Okay, so hit enter. And when we get our selection tool up here, our move tool, and click, we can hit Control D. And I think it looks very, very nice. So I'm going to get a really nice script font. A really nice script font is Belly Betty is a nice script font. Okay, I'm going to choose that one, Belly Betty. Now I'm going to add a name to this. So font size is set to 60. I'm going to up that to about 150. We can always make it smaller if that don't work. I just don't want to have to resize it from too small. So our foreground color right now is set to red. Our font color is set to black. I don't want it black. I think I might want it this color. Okay. So I'm going to click in here. And I'm going to set the name on this to Betty. This is Belly Betty font. Betty. Okay. I could say Betty's Lunch or whatever, but this is a more serious design. It's not a fun, whimsical design, so I'm just going to go with a more classic design. So right now, this font is really thin looking. There is such thing as an artificial bold. When a font comes and it doesn't have the bold option, you can give it a faux bold, it's called. So we'll select all this font, this text here. And up here in your character panel, if your character panel is not open, you can go. My mouse is acting up again. I shouldn't be eating around my computer because crumbs gets in it. Okay, window, character. That's what you need to have selected in order to get this. Okay. So let's see if we can get this back. Okay, here we go. So my font is selected. I'm going to hit this faux bold just to beef it up a little tiny bit. Okay, see that it made it a little bit bigger. So now that kind of blends into the background, which we don't want. I want it so that you could see the edges of the name. So Double click on here and it'll open up the Layer Styles palette sometime today. Now I'm going to add a stroke to it. So the way I have my stroke set up, I have it set up so that it's a gradient stroke. It's a style of stroke is shape burst. And when you click on the stroke and go in and look at it, the way it's set up is that one end is solid color black at 100%. The other end doesn't have a color and it's set to 0% opacity. So that means that between here and here, it fades from 100% to 0%. So that's why you get a nice soft feathered edge around the stroke on the letters. So we're going to say okay there. That's exactly what I wanted. And we're going to make the size on that stroke a little bit bigger so that it kind of gives a better glow. Okay. Let's say okay. There. I think that looks pretty good. So before I apply that to the mock-up for the bag to show you how it's going to look on a bag, I'm going to just show you something else. So we're going to merge this flowers down onto this leopard print. So to do that, just right click on it, say merge down. So say I wanted to change this from a teal green to, let's say, a purple. If I click on that, I go in here and I choose hue and saturation and lightness. Click our little button again to apply it to the layer directly beneath. Now I can slide my slider and it'll change the colors. So you can pretty much change this to any color you want now. And when you do, it's very easy to just go in and change the color of the text as well. So say we wanted a purple, but we don't want that bright of a purple. We can up the saturation and we can up the lightness a little bit. Let's move the saturation down a little bit. I find that when you apply lightness, it also applies it to the black areas, which makes it look gray and washed out. I don't like that. So, let's see. So we could try colorize. That might work. Okay. Because we don't want to wash out those gray areas, those black areas. Okay. So our saturation is turned down a little bit. We can, oh, that looks really pretty. We can turn the saturation up on that, and that makes it more purple. We can make it a darker purple. I'm just going to go back here, and I'm going to change that to, let's see. Yeah, let's go with a pink. Saturation up, lightness. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now to change the color of the words Betty, just double click, open up your layer style palette, and choose color overlay. So now the previous color that I used in some project was red, so I can just click on that. It's going to give me an eyedropper tool, and I can go in here and I can pick any color I want. That looks kind of neat. Okay. Or you can go with a darker, or you can even change it to black, and then you can go into your stroke if you like. Oops. You can go into your stroke and change the color of the 100% end of the gradient to pink. That would look pretty cool too. So we can just click in here and get that black. You can double click in here Now we can just go grab this pink color. So that's kind of a whitish pink. That's a pink, alright. Yeah, so totally up to yourself when you're designing. You just go with the flow until you find what looks good, I find. I think that looks pretty good myself. I'm going to say okay. Okay. Okay, stroke size. We can up or down the stroke size. That gives it just a little bit of a border. That gives it a bit of a big glow. You can do inside as well, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's going to make it disappear. Puts the stroke from the outside in instead of the inside out, the edge out. Okay, we don't want to do that. We'll change it back. There's also an option called center, and that puts half inside, half outside. That got its time and place too, but it is not today. So we're going to say outside. Drag it up. Make it a little bit more glow to it. I like it. Yeah, okay. We'll go with that. That looks pretty good to me. So let's say okay. Alright. So that's our design for our lunch bag for Betty. So now I'm going to get my mock-up design, and I'm going to just apply that to the mock-up just to show you how it looks. Open recent. All-in-one mock-up. So this is a mock-up I did today for a dirt bag. This all-in-one mock-up, I've designed it so that it holds a mock-up for a 4-inch coin purse and a standard size can cozy. So I can turn these off. Let's just turn that off. Make that disappear. Turn that off. Justin's weed money. Okay, let's turn this off too. Let's turn the coin purse off altogether before I give away all my secrets. Okay, so usually I put a nice wooden background or something on the back of these mock-ups, but I have one, I think, in the thumbnail for this video. Okay, so to change this mock-up to what we have in our design, we're going to go back in here. I'm going to hit Control A, and I'm going to hit Control Shift C to copy all the layers as one. I'm going to go into my mock-up file. Now, I'm going to collapse these so they don't get in my way. Can cozy and coin purse are gone. So now I'm left with the bags, the left bag and the right bag. So first of all, we'll update the front of the left bag. Double click. So now I'm going to hit Control V. So because our design is at 11 by 13 at 300 dpi, is going to be way bigger than the size required for this mock-up file. So I'm going to hit Control T, and that'll give us our handles. So if I zoom out, you see actually how much way too big it is. So that's what we got, and this is what we need. So I'm going to grab the bottom corner here, drag it up, make it fit. I'll zoom it back in now, make sure I got it positioned right. I'll hit Control plus, 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 plus. Okay, so just another tiny bit of adjustment required here. And if it doesn't go perfectly, you can just nudge it over to center it. So I'm going to hit Enter, and I'm going to hit Control S to save it. Okay. So I'm going to go back into our mock-up, and you can see how beautiful that really is. I'm just going to go back and I'm going to undo the different colorations that we did here. I'm going to hit Control Z, Z, Z. Okay, I'm going to just grab that as well. That's our original design. I'm going to hit Control A. I'm going to hit Control Shift C to copy. And now I'm going to go back into my mock-up and I'm going to update the right side with that design. So, double click. I'm going to hit Control V, zoom her out, hit Control T, and just drag it down to size. So when you design for your lunch bag, make sure you always save it as a PSD file so that you can go in and keep using it over and over and editing the names. So just hit enter. Now I'm going to hit Control S. And now back into our markup file. And you can see how easy it is to come up with a really beautiful design. Creative Fabric is the place to go to get all your stuff. $4.99 a month, paid by the year. So it's really really a great deal. The link is in the description below. And so are my other links to my VECTEEZY site. If you go to VECTEEZY as well, it's $14 a month, and it's really, really worth your while to get those, especially if you do any work in Adobe Illustrator. If you don't have Photoshop, you'd like to get it, there's also a link there where you can click to go and sign up for Photoshop, and you pay that by the month as well. You can do all this and create it in Canva if you like. I'm personally not a fan of Canva because I was trained, self-taught over the years on PaintShop Pro first, and then Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop. So what you get, you cut your teeth on. I guess that's where you like to be. So hope you liked this video. If you did, I'd like it if you give it a thumbs up and leave a comment for me. Let me know what you thought. And if you like my channel, give it a subscribe, because I'll be doing a lot more of this stuff. I got a lot of little tricks that I know, and I'd love to be able to pass them on to you, or some people just like watching stuff being created. So I hope you have a good evening. Thanks for watching.